You are not the smartest person in the room if you know the most. That idea is outdated, and deep down, you already sense it. Think about the last time you were in a conversation. Maybe an argument, maybe a meeting, maybe just a moment with someone who disagreed with you. What was your first instinct? To listen and understand? Or to respond, defend, explain, correct? Be honest. Most people, when they feel challenged, immediately start building their counter-argument while the other person is still talking. They are not listening. They are loading. We were taught to value intelligence our entire lives. Grades, test scores, how fast you can recall facts, how confidently you can speak. But look around at the people who actually move through life with ease. The ones who seem unshakable, who resolve conflict without drama, who make good decisions under pressure. Are they the ones who talk the most? Are they the ones who always have an answer? Usually not. They are the ones who ask the best questions, and who know when to say nothing at all. This is about a different kind of intelligence. The kind that has nothing to do with your grades, your vocabulary, or how many books you have read. And I want to be honest with you early. This is not a comfortable topic. Because by the end of this, you are going to recognize something about yourself that you have been calling being smart, that might actually be something else entirely. There is also one thing I'm going to say in a few minutes that a lot of people will completely disagree with. I want you to sit with your reaction when I say it, because your reaction will tell you more about you than the idea itself will. What does it actually mean to be intelligent? Not as a concept, in your real, daily behavior. When something goes wrong, what do you do first? When someone challenges your opinion, what do you feel first? When you do not know something, what do you do with that feeling? Most people have a deeply uncomfortable relationship with not knowing. They fill silence. They give answers before they have processed the question. They mistake confidence for competence. And when things go wrong, they react before they understand. Not because they are bad people, but because no one ever taught them that the first instinct is almost never the wisest one. Genuinely sharp thinkers are not better at having answers. They are better at being comfortable without them. They have trained themselves, consciously or not, to tolerate the discomfort of uncertainty long enough for actual clarity to arrive. That is not a personality trait. That is a skill. And it is learnable. The first real signal of intelligent thinking is not what you say. It is what you do when someone disagrees with you. When someone contradicts you, what is the immediate feeling? Threat? Irritation? The urge to correct them? Those feelings are not wrong. They are human, but what you do with them, that is where intelligence shows itself. A person operating from real mental clarity does not hear disagreement as an attack. They hear it as data. They get curious. They ask, what are they seeing that I am not? What part of this might actually be true? This does not mean they agree with everything. It means they do not need to win the conversation in order to feel okay about themselves. They are not trying to defeat you. They are trying to understand what is real. Here is the thing I said people would disagree with. Most people who think of themselves as smart have built a large part of their identity around being right. And arguing, skillful, confident arguing, feels like proof of intelligence. But it is often the opposite. The most sophisticated minds are not the best debaters. They are the best listeners. They are the ones who say, "Tell me more about why you think that." And they mean it. If that made you defensive, stay with it. That reaction is worth examining. This is where so many people lose enormous amounts of mental and emotional energy every single week. Something does not go as planned. A project fails. A relationship gets complicated. A decision turns out to be wrong. What happens first? Panic? Blame? Of yourself or someone else? The urge to explain what happened to anyone who will listen? All of these responses share something in common. They are reactions before understanding. And reactions before understanding almost always make things worse. Mentally clear people do something different when things fall apart. They pause. Not because they do not feel anything. They absolutely do. But they have developed enough internal discipline to hold the feeling without being controlled by it. And then, when there is some space, they ask, what actually happened here? Not whose fault was it? Not why is this always happening to me? But genuinely, what can I learn from this and what can I actually change? This is not emotional detachment. It is emotional maturity. There is a big difference. If what you are hearing is connecting with something you have been working on, the way you think, the way you respond, the way you want to show up, consider following this channel. Everything here is built around that kind of quiet, practical clarity. Real tools for real life. There are things within your control and things that are not. That is the entire map. Your thoughts, your responses, your preparation, your tone, your choices, yours, other people's reactions, timing, outcomes, luck, what someone thinks of you, not yours. Most people know this intellectually. Almost no one applies it consistently. Because when something outside your control goes badly, the brain wants to grip it, analyze it, worry it into submission. And you end up spending enormous energy trying to manage something you fundamentally cannot manage. That energy drains from the places you could actually make a difference. Every time you feel that spiral of anxious effort beginning, ask, is this actually mine to change? If yes, get specific and take action. If no, your job is to release it. Not because it does not matter, but because holding it does nothing except cost you. And then there is silence. The one most people are genuinely afraid of. Silence in conversation. The pause before you respond. The moment where you do not immediately have an answer. Our culture has trained us to treat silence like failure, like weakness. So we fill it constantly. We speak before we think. We respond before we listen. We offer opinions before we understand the question. And it makes us look less intelligent. Not more. The most composed, most genuinely sharp people you will ever be around share this quality. They are not afraid of the pause. They let things land. They sit with complexity before they open their mouth. And when they do speak, there is weight behind it, because it came from somewhere real, not from reflex. The next time you are in a difficult conversation, do not respond immediately. Let the other person finish not just their sentence, but their thought. Then ask a real question before you give an answer, something that shows you were actually listening. You will be amazed at what happens to the quality of the conversation and at how differently the other person responds to you. Here is what I said you would find by the end. The behavior most of us were rewarded for as children. Having answers, speaking confidently, correcting others, winning arguments, is often just performance. It is the performance of intelligence. It looks like confidence, but it is actually insecurity wearing a smart face. Real intelligence is quieter. It is more curious and less certain. It is more comfortable with being wrong. It does not need the room to confirm it. It does not need to arrive first. It just thinks clearly, acts calmly, and adjusts honestly when it needs to. You are not less intelligent because you do not always have an answer. You are not broken because you have reacted impulsively, argued for the sake of winning, or wasted energy on things outside your control. That is just what happens when no one shows you a different way to operate. But you know now. And knowing is not enough. You have to practice. Not perfectly, just deliberately. The next disagreement you are in, choose curiosity over defense. The next thing that goes wrong, look for the lesson before the blame. The next time you feel the urge to fill silence, let it breathe. These are not dramatic changes. They do not require willpower or a perfect routine. They require a small, quiet decision to operate differently than reflex tells you to. Intelligence is not about how much you carry. It is about how clearly you move.